Welcome to the Own Your Best Life podcast. I'm May Emson, your host, leadership and mindset coach. Here, we talk all things spiritual, mindset, business, leadership, and wellness for the modern seeker who wants to align their life with purpose and inspiration. We'll cover career changes, stress management, meditation, energy, intuition, and more. Each episode holds spiritual and practical tools to help you live a life of your wildest dreams without getting burnt out along the way. Ready to live a life on your own terms? This is the Own Your Best Life podcast. Welcome, friends, to episode number 128 of the Own Your Best Life podcast. So if you've ever struggled with getting your point across or feel like people don't understand what you're trying to say, you know how frustrating it can be. You wonder if it's you or them, and your confidence takes a hit when what you're saying just doesn't seem to land. So what can you do to be understood and be taken seriously? What can you do to understand others better? So whether it's your kids, your partner, your boss, your team, your friend, or a stranger that you want on your side, you know how important it is to communicate well and to do it effectively. It makes life so much better. So today's podcast will help you understand 5 things you're doing to communicate effectively and why convincing isn't one of them. So our whole life is communication with ourselves, telling ourselves what we know, what's to be questioned, and what to do next. Communication with others, expressing what we know, what we question, and what to do next. It's a really important skill to master because you know it is the difference between living the life you want and the one where you kind of sort of feel like it makes sense. So you want to live the life that feels like it absolutely makes sense, and the kind of life where you know who you are on the inside is who you are on the outside. So in my coaching work with my clients, I teach them a 5-step process to communicating effectively. And it isn't for those who are just learning how to get over the fear of public speaking. This is for those who are already in the spaces where they have things to say and they have to share them, whether it's selling an idea or presenting a plan. They know they have a short amount of time to get their point across, and they want to leave feeling like they've got what they came for and that the audience got what they came for as well. So the first step is understanding your own intention. What are you trying to share? What is the point of the conversation or the presentation? This is on everyone's mind. Why are we here? So if you don't know this, you'll leave feeling confused, and so will the people you talk to during your conversation. Have you ever left a conversation feeling like it completely didn't go the way you wanted and that you lost yourself or maybe other people along in the process? This is what I'm talking about. You know you're there at this point of confusion when you say, "What are we here to talk about?" or "I don't know how we got here." Often you'll feel a sense of frustration, and that's a clue that you or they are confused about the intention of the conversation. So when I work with my clients, we go through the actual scenarios that they're going to work through, and we work through a process where they are clear about what they're trying to accomplish, the structure, the flow of the conversation, so it lands, and they know from day one how to get their point across. And the second thing you want to know is what they are thinking. So this is the thing you're doing here. If you don't know what they are thinking, you're going to be guessing at what you should or shouldn't say. And it often feels like you've completely missed the mark and misunderstood them when you don't know what they're thinking. They may have a short response. They may want to seem like they're trying to cut off the conversation early. You'll feel a sense of excitement and be surprised at their lack of excitement, or vice versa. Essentially, your energy and thoughts aren't matching theirs, so they don't trust you. We go through a process then to understand how to not just guess at what they're thinking, but know what they are thinking so that you can take their feedback into consideration. This is part of the process you do beforehand to lay the foundation for a smooth transition into the conversation you want to have with them. It leads to greater trust, it leads to credibility so that people want to listen to what you have to say. And if you're selling here, this is a big point. And I would argue that everyone is selling something. You're selling your ideas, you're selling your thoughts, you're selling your point of view, whether it's to your kids, your partners, your bosses, anyone. You're always trying to have them buy into what you're trying to say. So it's really important that they trust you and that you feel credible to them. They need to be comfortable with you in order to buy into what you're trying to say. All right, so that was the second thing that you're doing when you're communicating effectively. Know what they're thinking. Now, the next thing, when you know what the intention is and you know what the audience is thinking, the next thing is to know what you need to say and how to say it. This is the third thing that you're doing. We often think that so much of our conversation is in the words themselves, but 80% of our communication is in nonverbal communication. It's in the tone, the gestures, the pace. This is the art of storytelling. It's not just reserved for long presentations. You can do this in 30 seconds, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It isn't about the time. It's about what you do in the time you have. When you don't do this effectively, it will feel like you're running out of time to get to what you want to say. It will feel like a monologue instead of a dialogue if you're not adjusting your style and your content to the time you have and who's in front of you right now. And this is where we go into the energetic work of connecting with our audience. And I teach my clients how to get into the essence of what is being communicated without losing the most important things they need to share. Now, we're on to the fourth thing that happens when you're communicating effectively. The fourth thing is that you expect questions. You ask for questions. You think ahead of time of the questions they might have. There is a whole style of presenting where you purposely leave what you need to say to be answered in a question and answer format. Do you think you could do that? Could you be confident enough to leave things out that you know will get answered in a question? So I work with my clients to identify what those things are so that they're not vague, but they're succinct. I also work with my clients to identify why they seem to constantly be getting questions that they don't expect and what that really means. And usually they think people are just being difficult, but that's not the case. It's usually a different line of thinking that is required for you and them to be able to actually communicate effectively. And assuming people are difficult isn't the strategy you will want to pursue. This is where you'll find yourself trying to argue back and convince someone of your viewpoint. This is when you know you're not communicating effectively. You're arguing back and forth. That type of arguing is different than a conscious debate. So I'm not saying that you don't share your viewpoints and someone else shares theirs and you can't respond to that. But arguing is where you've lost consciousness and you're reacting more so than acting. You're not as deliberative and you're not as strategic about what you're saying and how you are saying it, and also what you're not going to say, which is often what gets us in trouble. We say the things that we really don't need to be saying. So find those times when you've argued or you were trying to convince someone to see things differently, and you'll go back and you'll think through those and you'll realize it doesn't actually work. The times it might work are when they're too tired and you have essentially just won because of relentlessness. And this is a strategy. Don't get me wrong. This is a strategy, but not a sustainable one or one that you want to deploy for relationships where there is a long-term commitment and you both depend on each other for important things in either your work or your life. So finally, the fifth thing you'll be doing to communicate effectively is knowing what you want them to do. This might change depending on the context of the conversation. Are you asking for something and the other person has to agree? Do you need a specific thing that they will do as a result of the conversation? What do they need to do now? So this is how we wrap it up and we give conversation a closure. Instead of leaving open-ended items and decision points where people aren't sure what the point of the conversation was and what just happened. So I coach my clients on how to lead the conversation so that they're not leaving people behind where they're so far ahead and just taking it all on and not giving them any space to share what the other person is thinking, nor are they just agreeing to everything that someone else says. The leadership comes from asking for what you need in the conversation. All right, so those are the 5 things. So to wrap it up, you don't need to be convincing when you're communicating effectively. Being able to get your point across and understanding others comes from clearly knowing what you're trying to share, knowing what they are thinking, knowing what and how you need to say what you need to say, being prepared for questions, and asking for what you need to wrap it up. So that's it, my friends, for this week. So if you're interested in the world of spirituality, energy, co-creation, while also wanting to achieve big things in life, I invite you to join me for spiritual achievement coaching. Figuring out what's next is easier when you have a roadmap and tools to help you dig deeper into your own journey of self-discovery. So in our work together, we will make decisions. You will learn about yourself and you will get coached to a deeper level than you ever thought possible. This is what's waiting for you. So reach out at www.mayemson.com/contact today. That's it. My friends, have an amazing week, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks so much for joining us this week on Own Your Best Life. Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, can you please rate and review on iTunes? I would so appreciate it. Share it with a friend, take a screenshot of it, and tag @MayEmson. This helps continue to get the word out. For more show notes and resources, check out www.mayemson.com. You'll have all the links to everything you heard here today. Thanks so much for listening. It's time to own your best life.